Wayne's World. Sorry, that's the first thing I thought of. Hey, we're the Rob
We
and
should
Holly
start our
Show.
shows with like that all the time.
We're hanging at Music Town, Detroit with Jackson Dean.
Yay!
Big show tonight at St. Andrews. Do you know
The history
any
of
of the
St.
history
Andrews?
about the basement of St. Andrews Hall?
No, but I'm very excited for what's about to be told to me.
Well,
You're like, I love.
I just walked in there for a minute and I saw the 2 stories and whatnot, and walked down in the basement. It's cool down there. It's really awesome.
Yeah, so they call the basement the shelter, and it's most famous for that's where Eminem was doing all his rap battles back in the day. That's kind of like where it all started for
So like
Eminem,
when you see the movie 8 Mile.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're like, and
It's
they're
been
like,
a long time.
Right.
But like as a kid, I think I had this white iPod. It was like the first one I ever had, and I had this like weird punk song on there, and then Lose Yourself and Not Afraid by Eminem. And it was just like those 3 for like a solid year.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah.
But it's been a while, but that's crazy.
Isn't that
what else?
Yeah, there's just a history.
well,
The floor fell in a couple years ago.
They were saying
Well,
that
it's
over
true.
there.
It's an old place. The floor like literally gave way.
It's got rich history, is what
But
we're
it's-
saying,
by the way,
and
your
now
floor
you're
is fine.
now you're adding to it.
That's crazy. It is.
Yeah.
That's
It's
awesome.
It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite places to see a show like ever. It is. It's warm and fuzzy in there.
So
Well, the
there's
floors are sticky too, but it is warm and fuzzy.
I do believe you might be able to grab a couple tickets. This show's probably going to sell out, but if you're watching right now, you may be able to snag a couple tickets for the show
We're
tonight.
dang close.
Yeah.
I know we know a lot of your catalog, but you just released a brand new cover, and when you were teasing it, the last time we talked, I think it was at CMA Fest in Nashville, and we heard that there was an Audio Slave cover.
Oh,
I
God,
mentioned,
no.
and
Yeah,
then
so we've been waiting.
I was like, I was so excited. I was like, he's finally going to do the Audio Slave. Not that When a Man Loves a Woman is not great, but
it was a different direction than you
I
had
thought
anticipated.
we were going Audio Slave way, so we're still waiting for Audio Slave, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, Rob, I did Cornell on my gut string. I did Shadow of the Sun on my gut string and just scream. Yeah, that'd have been hilarious. No, we were really thinking about it, and then I made the decision. This year I really want to start playing some of our newer songs that we have coming out in a couple months. We only worked up, I think, 2 other new songs that we never played before, and we were like, this doesn't feel. We want to play these over here. And we've talked seriously for a long time about doing Audio Slave, and doing Shadow of the Sun. It would be nuts. Or like a Stone would have been just like, yeah.
Is there there's probably a video out there on socials of you doing that, like in your. No, never.
Yeah.
Because I know you post a lot of covers on your social.
A few. A
so
few.
we'll be looking for it. But let's talk about the Percy Sledge, though.
Yeah, I want to know
Yeah.
what inspired you. Why that song?
I had never heard anybody do it on a gut string. I'm sure there's takes of it out there, but I just had never heard anybody do it like that. And the way that came about, Apple approached us about a session, and I was like, okay, cool. One of my favorite bands, Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, did a session with them and just went and set up and just did their thing. And it's some really cool takes of their songs and some of their bangers. But I wanted to just go in there and do one takes and just have it be very natural and organic, and spend a couple hours and make sure it sounds right coming through here so it can come out this way. That was Betsy, and then we did Train, and then we did When a Man Loves a Woman. They just needed a second one, or a third one they wanted 3.
They make it.
I
The
was just like,
trifecta's
all right.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trifecta's good. So I was like, I'll just do this. I had never played it down on the guitar before. I messed with it a couple days before. Never sang it on stage before that.
So you didn't have
that take that's on. That take is the first full take of it all the way down, which took maybe 8 or 9 passes of getting my body to do it.
Right.
But it was real fun. It was a really fun day. I just got to go in there and work for 4 hours and just This is what I create on my lonesome,
Yeah.
This is just like me sitting in front of a mic in a room. This is how I did it, my first record, which was a mic here and a mic here. And you play the song all the way down, and there's your cut.
I
love
really
it.
like it. It's really like when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is such a good version.
Yeah.
It's such a good song.
Not as much preparation as I would have thought, though. Like you said, you were like, this is kind of.
He's an expert.
This is, well,
This is what he
Yeah.
does.
Expert
this is why
a
he's
very
Jackson
strong
Dean.
word.
Yes.
well, you're pretty good at everything. I would say.
Improvising.
You know, pretty good.
He's a Renaissance man. We've talked about this many times.
How many? Speaking of Renaissance man, how many different guitars do you have now that you have designed with the wood burning?
Okay, so we just got 2 more.
Yeah.
So they're all the same model.
Okay.
They're Takaminis or PD3s or P3Ds or something.
Yeah,
P,
a lot
there's
of
a
different
P, there's a
numbers and
D, there's a
letters.
3. Yeah.
So they're a cedar top dreadnought, and that's why you can do it on them. And there's not a lot of finish on them, so you can't take a guitar that will, like, if it shines when you put it up to a light, you can't do it. As soon as you touch it with the burner, it's gonna spider web. You can do it with a Dremel, and I've seen
Right.
people do that, which is awesome. But we got 5. I have my 4. The Feather is off the road now, which is what I brought up here
Right.
the first time. Yeah, because I was still
Yep.
rocking the Feather then. So that's off the road. We just got another 2 in addition to my 3, 2 blank ones. And I just put like a space flower situation on the one just to give it something. But we added a 5th into the band a little while ago, and he's playing keys. He's rocking SG, and he's also playing acoustic on a couple parts where I just put my guitar down and walk and do the thing. But yeah, we got plans for one of them. We're gonna have everybody come up with something, and I'm just gonna do it. We have a couple runs coming up to where we have like 2-3 weeks on the road. The first 3 weeks of this tour I was out for 3 weeks on the bus, so I'm just gonna sit there and burn it all
Yeah.
in. And,
Is the
Wait, what's
Feather
a
good?
space flower?
what
What does that look?
So
Can you
I
describe-
did like a 9-point star.
Okay.
I did 3 of them on my new favorite, which is like I burned half of it black and just took from right where the bridge is down here, and I just went like that all the way to the edge, and burned all the way to the top black, and then did 3.9 points, 3 9-point stars across the bottom.
Okay.
It's just visually is distinct and.
Do you believe in aliens?
All right.
Well, you're
let's
talking
do
about
this.
space flowers. I was like, I just
You're like,
was
"Here's my-"
immediately. I was like, space,
I mean,
aliens, UFOs.
I mean, the sky is pretty cool in the daytime and the nighttime to me. No, it's the snake guitar is like that. It's night and day. There's these 2 snakes that are coming in, and they meet and they're fighting. They got their mouths wide open and they're like this. And there's a moon and a sun over each of them, but they're different snakes. I don't know. It's more about the human perspective of being down here and having it all around you than it is about aliens. But if we're talking about aliens,
The answer is
Seems like it could be open ended.
it really seems like there's just a lot of movies where they're just trying to tell you something.
Right?
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Do you think Hollywood's full of aliens and then they're
Oh,
the
God.
ones running it?
Oh,
I mean,
God,
that could
no.
go in a whole thing. No,
We-
these aren't real questions, by the way. None
Yeah.
of these
My-
are real
my,
questions.
I was actually just trying to host a TV show in Roswell, New Mexico. That is it's a new show.
It covers
bringing-
people
Yeah, I
who
gotta- I
have
gotta-
seen aliens.
Oh,
or
UFO
there's
sightings.
some
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
out there
Yeah.
in New Mexico.
That's, I
So-
guess, where my thought is, because
Yeah,
we've been
our-
talking about aliens a
Our
lot.
heads are in that space
Sorry.
right now. 'Cause
The
we
second
were-
you said space, I was like, let's talk about aliens. Let's get it. Okay, let's go back to music. Like, let's be functional.
Yeah,
And-
yeah. Well, I don't know if we've heard the full story behind one of the first singles that was put out, which was "Don't Come Looking."
Really?
Have we?
We may
I don't-
have, but because we were talking about it before you got here, and I was like, what is the story again? Because we asked 3 things, and I'm like, maybe we didn't ask this. Where were you? What were you thinking? And what were you drinking when you like wrote that song?
I was in Luke Dick's studio,
Okay.
over in East Nasty, and which we made a lot of music in that garage. I was thinking about the Stomp. I was thinking about that. We didn't have any words to write, and I was just like, can we like do something a little primitive here? And he had picked up his 12-string and done E, G, and A on the 12-string, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. Let's get fun. Sat there and looped it for about 25 minutes. I'm going through pages. I'm going through my phone trying to find things, and I just kind of zoned out. And I had it going. I was like, don't come looking. And he just like kind of picked his head up and was like, what'd you do? And I did it again. And he goes, that's what we're writing today. Yeah, it was something I used to say to my mom before I left the house. So I grew up on the edge of a lot of acreage that you couldn't build on. It's sand and silt and like marsh swamp situation. So it's like that for miles, and I go in there as a kid, as young boys do.
You're an
And
outdoor kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was outside.
Yeah.
Outside. But my mother would say, I go in there from sun up to sundown, some days. She could just go, if you get in trouble, just start screaming. I'll be listening. And my mother is like, she doesn't sleep. She hovers like she used to. Now she's, from the time I turned like 17 and on, she was like, I'm going to sleep. But she used to just hover above the pillow. We always used to joke with her about that because you touch the door handle and she's like, what do you need?
Yeah.
That's
But
a
she
good
would
mom.
say, stay alive no matter what occurs. I will find you. And one day I just started saying, Mama, if I don't come back, don't come looking for me. I'll be just fine.
Yeah.
But it was just a smart aleck thing between me and my mother. And yeah. It's funny. She always used to say that she's like the Disney mom. She's dead, and she's like never gets talked about in interviews. And I talked a lot about my dad, because my parents are still together and they love each other. And but I talk a lot about my dad, and I spent a lot of time with my dad. I worked for him since I was 8 years old, But she just always joked about that, and then I'm like, Mom, I literally have to tell everybody that you're the reason for my first number one.
Yeah.
Changing our lives.
Like, I wrote a
Shout
song
out,
for
shout
you.
out to your mom.
Yeah.
We're
I wrote
talking
a
about her
song.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
and she loves it now. But I mean, there was, I didn't have Don't Come Looking until 6-7 years into my career. I've been doing this since I was 15.
Yeah.
Because I hit puberty in the 4th grade. Shot up like a weed.
Do you feel like it was warranted that your mom was hovering over the pillow? You were kind of
that's what I was thinking,
a
yeah.
troublemaker as a kid, or what do you think?
No, I'm the youngest of 4, man. By the time they got to me, they were like, do whatever you want.
The anxiety that your mom must have experienced her
Oh my
life.
God, yeah. No, I was an angel.
It all worked out. Let's talk about Fearless. We want to ask the same 3 questions.
Okay.
Where were you? What were you thinking? And what were you drinking about that song?
So Fearless was me. We were in Luke's garage. It was me, Luke, and our buddy John Sherwood, who I just talked to 2 days ago. He sent me a song that him and Tucker Bethard wrote, and Tucker Bethard. I love Tuck. I really do. We cut 2 Tuck songs.
Tucker
for this
Bethard, by
next
the
record.
way, I think wrote or co-wrote a majority of the songs with on Eric Church's latest, right?
That's what I heard too.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Tuck. Last time I saw him was pushing a year now. I mean, I've been gone, but incredible writer. He really hit a pocket with writing. It's just amazing.
Yeah, powerhouse.
He
Yes.
he writes for Little Louder, which is where I'm signed at
Okay.
and publishing. So anyway, it's me, Luke Dick, John Sherwood in the room at Luke's garage, and we were like a week away from going in to cut the first half of Greenbroke and just get this group of like 5 or 6 songs that we were gonna do, and we were just like really missing something, and didn't have anything else to take its place, and Luke was like, "You all should come over, like in 2 days, and just give it one last, if anything falls out, it falls out." He had the hi-hats and the drums and all that worked up, and he had the and he just had the one word, fearless, and then we just kind of hit the ground running after that. And that's enough to work with.
Yeah.
For him. I mean, he's a you want to talk about musical genius, some musical genius right there. It was like the B-side. It was the complete opposite of what Don't Come Looking was, right? In a very visual color way, like DCL is orange and red, Fearless is blue and purple and fuchsia.
Wait, do you see color in music? Like music? Wait,
Sometimes.
music and color is what I'm trying to say?
Sometimes.
Or shapes?
Color.
Color. Okay.
Definite color.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's color just influences emotion so much. It really does. Yeah, and they can take it away too.
Do you when you're in the studio, are you ever like, wait, it needs to be more blue, less red, or do you know what I mean? Like, do you
No.
ever speak like in that kind of way? Okay.
It's not in there. No.
All right.
No, not that kind of language
Okay.
in there.
But just when you're thinking
that's
of it.
more in, that's way more in, like, you don't start using that language until you get it back in your hand the way that it's going to be to the rest of the world.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then you start with that, and that's more performance driven.
Okay.
Now that, I just hired a guy, he's my age. I think he's 1 year older than me, 1 year. And he's absolutely killing it. He's running lights for us. He's absolutely killing it. Having that is such a step up, and like, it feels amazing on our end because to have all that backlight to light everybody up to where you can see everybody's eyeballs, just like
Lighting is
You
a
know.
big part of a live performance,
Yeah.
and it doesn't happen. You play a lot of shows where you're just in.
you're
like,
you're
blue
in
or
a
purple
light
light for the whole
show
time.
that like is not a part of
Yeah.
like
Right.
what you're doing at all, and just like
It's
and
probably
sometimes you walk into places and there's a house guy there and you're just like, here's a set list. I mean, here's
right. So you gotta
Shoot for the
you gotta
moon.
be loving the tour now that you have everything's coming together. It's the light, it's
Yeah.
the sound.
Yeah.
It's like it's a whole experience now when you go see one of your shows.
It's
Is pyro on that list of one day of having? Like,
honestly, so for outdoor stuff, I
Yeah.
literally want 3 16-inch block and a 55-gallon drum on top of those 3, and have barrel fire right in the middle of the stage. So when the lights go out, it's nothing but my silhouette that you can see right behind me. Right.
That's sweet. I
I
like it.
also thought about like going medieval on people and just like having a pan with the oil and then like a 3-point chain situation up to a 1, and then like you just hang it. You hang it from the ceiling, but they come down like 15 feet so it doesn't touch nothing. Fire marshal ain't got to even be involved.
You've put some thought into this.
I knew it. I was like, I bet you he has a whole stage plan. Like in my head, I was like, he's got like a dream stage plan. It probably involves fire, but I love that you figured out the logistics of it to
I'm
make
not
it
asking
happen.
for a lot here.
Yes.
I am not asking to shoot off fire. I'm not
Yeah.
asking for a flamethrower.
Right.
I mean, Kid Rock would ask you for a flamethrower. I'm thinking if he could. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you can
It
wait.
would be
Got it. It
awesome.
would be a bonus, but
It
you're
would be
not
a bonus.
asking for it.
no, I'm not asking
Yes.
for it. No, we don't need to do that. I got to play guitar and sing. I
This
got
is
things to
great.
do.
This
Well,
is
yeah,
great.
that, you know, that's
I can't wait till this happens.
the,
'cause it will.
the great thing though is that you and your music, the music itself stands alone.
Yeah.
Like you don't necessarily
Yeah.
need the lights and the flames. All that's really cool, but you've built it to where if
It's
you don't
about-
have anything else,
It's about what's
You're
coming.
fine.
it stands on its own.
Yeah,
2
it's
feet.
it's about what's coming out of the speakers.
Yeah.
But as the creative artist part,
yeah.
you would love all of that.
Yeah,
You
some
want
fun.
The whole package. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's the part of being fun. So, all right, let's look forward to the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what is on the docket for the summer.
I'm taking off about a month. I ain't got.
Wait, what are you doing for a whole month?
Can't talk about it.
Sleeping.
You're sleeping. Okay.
Yeah, I got 2 shows in the month of May. After that was kind of festival season.
Yeah.
We got Brothers Osborne, but that's on the pretty side of things. But we got a lot of festivals happening. And then starts Laney pretty early.
Yep. This is my favorite lineup, by the way.
Country's
Your
Cool
lineup.
Again tour?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's my
Hell yeah.
favorite.
It's gonna be fun. We're gonna be all out west, and then Ian's doing all the east. So he and I are kind of just swapping.
Swapping, yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's like that's where he's from.
Yeah,
That's
he's from
right.
He's from Wyoming.
Yeah.
And he comes from like prairie fiddle playing string dusters kind of
Yeah,
situation.
and his whole family is musical too. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. I really love Ian.
Me too.
Every time I see him, it's just nothing but good things.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I'm very excited to do that. Gonna spend some time in LA. LA.
LA. I
And,
want to go to LA.
LA.
Are you a beachy person?
Not particularly. I would much rather a river.
Okay.
To me, but I will take a riverbank any day.
Okay.
The beach. See, I'm very pale, and I burn very easy, and I get real red. And I usually got to do like 2 good burns before I don't have to worry about it until the following year, you know. But no, I'll get all my beach time in Australia in a couple months.
That sounds awful.
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh my
not
God,
a
you're
couple
gonna be
months.
okay?
It's,
Yeah.
it's less than a month now.
I make a joke because like Australia's on my bucket list of places I
Yeah.
want to go to. Yeah, it's gonna be
I
so
would
fun.
I would go for just fun. You know?
Yeah.
We're going to play, but I would go for just fun. It was a really great time. It's beautiful, like dangerously beautiful.
They say that Australia is very close to like being like the U.S.
They're very laid back, and the vibe that I get from everybody there is, it's just like, how can I do what's best for everybody's situation that's involved in this process right now?
Interesting.
Very laid back. There's some differences, just like there is in
Yeah.
Europe and whatnot.
Like
but
the spiders and like,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
giants. That creeps me out.
the bin chickens. Oh my
Yep.
god.
No, thank you.
Yep. No. Thank
I don't
you.
think we're super laid back in America.
We're not.
I
I have a
wouldn't
lot
say.
of anxiety.
I would say we're
depending
stressed
on-
out. People are like,
I think if we had bigger spiders, that we might have to get laid back. But like we just have anxiety because we don't have those things.
that would probably be the effect if we had giant spiders. Too.
Right? We're not really forced to face our fears on a daily basis like Australians are.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have spiders, they have sharks all the time.
snakes.
Kangaroos look cute and then they start punching
they'll-
you and taking your
Oh, yeah.
dog, you know?
Yep.
Like stuff happens.
I've seen.
I
That
know
video.
a kangaroo.
You know what I'm talking
His
about,
name's
yeah.
Roy.
Yeah.
Oh, you've met a kangaroo named Roy?
Oh yeah.
Roy's a weird name for a kangaroo.
I know he was the alpha dog, the alpha
Yeah.
roo.
It's so funny.
The alpha roo. Oh my God.
we need to go to Australia as well. Let's.
No, it's really a great time. Sydney was cool.
It's big.
Melbourne was cool. The Gold Coast is where you want to be.
Okay. Most of the stuff I know about Australia is from watching Bluey. So that's really where I'm at. with-
Bluey.
It's a kid's show. I got a
show.
kid, and we watch a lot of Bluey.
It's
in
a
our
little
house.
cartoon.
It's a little cartoon. It's adorable.
My
though.
my
I
son
really
my
like
son
it.
Emmett is he watches it a lot.
Yeah.
And
See, Rob and I know a lot
now,
about
so he's
Bluey.
been watching it so much that instead of calling people friends, now he calls people mates So he's got these little stuffed animals, and he's like, he goes, Dad, this is my best mate.
Dad, this is my best mate.
It's adorable. So yeah, Bluey is a big influence. It's good
Dad, this is my best mate.
though. Yeah.
You're probably a long way from there one day, Jackson, but it'll happen, and then you'll be stuck watching Bluey too. You'll see. You'll see one day.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. We don't need to think about it now. Enjoy this time.
You were mentioning your lighting guy. How old? You're what? 20 something?
He's a
I'm
baby.
23.
You're so young.
He's so young.
So yeah, you're
I
not
always
thinking
forget.
about getting married and having kids.
Because you have an old soul. We've talked about how geriatric your soul really is inside.
But I like to have fun though.
I know you have fun, but like you just have that.
You're like, don't make me sound like I don't do anything.
He's like a. I'm trying to make all the analogies in my head right now are not good.
I
But
think
like
all
a piece
of us.
of wood.
I think all of us have that in that we enjoy things from the past. Like
Yes.
for me, I really enjoy late 60s, early 70s music, cars, fashion, like all that stuff. So I think all of us.
Jackson enjoys it, but in his soul is like from that time.
Yeah.
It's different than like being like you like it, right? Do you feel that way about your soul?
Digging deep right now.
This is not a real question either, by the way. I want none of these to be real questions. This is. I don't want to go on the record with it.
No, I just had a lot to observe as a child, and I was constantly told that I had to act older than I was, and one day I just had enough of not being able to do everything that everybody else does that I was asking to live up to.
I feel like this is my child.
You
know, like my child has the same
You're
issues.
just told every day, you have.
Be independent.
You have to go
Go do your thing.
Come hang with the adults.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Lane's 6 years older than me. Cody and Kyle are 10 years older than me. It's just like, yeah, sure, I had friends and stuff, but maybe like all on one hand, you know. But you have a lot to observe. All of that being said, you have a lot to observe, and there's some wild times in the family. Some wild times.
This goes back to taking away screens, what we were talking about earlier, and really forcing your kids to look at blades of grass and play with blades of grass.
Well, the conversation earlier, if you're just joining in, it came from all of us trying to whistle.
And then we're talking about whistling with blades of grass.
And then when we were kids, you used to take a blade of grass and whistle with that. And,
you could whistle like this, but you would whistle it with your fingers.
Yeah.
Like this
So
too.
these are the things that kids now, they're like, hey, give me my iPad.
They're missing it.
And you know, they're like, well, when I this makes me sound old. When I was a kid, we used to whistle through blades of grass. That's what we did for hours. We didn't have any stinking phones or iPads or TVs.
Exactly. That's
And
exactly
we
it.
run down the road and try to slide on gravel.
Yeah. But hey,
You see what I mean?
look, I think we've covered a lot. But we're here to have fun tonight. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man.
All right. Let's have some fun.
I wasn't being accusatory with your old soul, by the way. I know
right.
that you're fun. We've seen you on stage. It's always fun.
This always happens. The leather couch always ends up turning into a therapy session.
It
so
really is.
sorry about that.
It
buddy.
really is.
But hey, let's go to the show tonight. St. Andrews Hall. Jackson Dean is here at Music
Yeah,
Town
baby.
in Detroit.
Yeah, baby.